if you don't know by now, I strongly hypothesize that a lot of the controversy surrounding Xbox is a concerted effort to piggyback off of what Xbox is doing and their presence in the news and the gaming scene to farm engagement. Now, it is a theory close to a hypothesis level, but let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about. Are we at the point where every time Xbox wants to do something, something controversial somehow rears its ugly head, and before you know what's going on, it appears that even the people who are just the ones sowing, I would say, what I would call a lot of the dissent, are benefiting from it regardless. Even though they say some of the most outlandish things, even if they say some things that are basically incorrect in many cases, or are just pretty much overblown lies of a fantasy that they're creating, are they benefiting from this at the end of the day? Now, I say this because I know that for sure some of these articles are straight up rage bait. They're straight up, conversational bait. Some of them are fanboy bait. Like, they know that are going to be able to bait, like, fanboys into a conversation or whatever it is. And I see it. Like, you literally will see it. That they'll say some of the most outlandish stuff. And it's just very funny to see that these are the things that are flying out there. But I remember when Starfield was about to launch, that one faced a lot of controversies. But one of them that was fomented by the media, the games media, was Starfield at 30 FPS. Now, whether or not you think a game should launch at 30 FPS is your business, I am not bothered by what you think about that. I will play a game at 30 FPS if I want. Zelda Breath of the Wild, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, they were outstanding games to the people who played them, and one of them won Game of the Year. So if you tell me that Starfield being 30 FPS was a problem while that game won Game of the Year, I will laugh at you. Also tell me that the Switch is actually an underpowered console, and I'll laugh at you more, because we're not talking about the console, we're talking about the FPS of the game. So you could bear with the FPS regardless if it was on a potato or on a beastly machine, and then somehow, get out of here. And the press was running around with, it was because of the sandwiches, the physics, all of this. If you remember, at the same time too, there were conversations as well about Marvel's Spider-Man and how that game was going to be better, blah, 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 how Starfield was looking like it was dated, just all of this stuff around Starfield. Okay, that went away, that passed. Then another launch was coming, Black Ops 6, which showed up this year. This is not even talking about the Call of Duty of 2023. That came with its own controversies, but I'm coming to drag your memory just to the more recent things. And that's where we saw that GamesIndustry.biz article, which basically said Black Ops 6 is a make or break for the Game Pass strategy, where its author concluded that somewhere, somehow, that this particular game was going to end up with black ink for PlayStation and was going to be somewhat of a bummer for Xbox. Do y'all remember that? And now the most recent one is the Xbox Developer Direct coming pretty soon. And on top of that, we got this uber negative article on Xbox talking about Game Pass, talking about some of the different aspects of their business that we already knew about, but now citing two portfolio managers where people are making it sound like this. Xbox stockholders not happy with Game Pass. My dude, a portfolio manager is now a stockholder. That's what people are now starting to basically look, because a stockholder, yes, they want to see gains. A portfolio manager, yes, they want to see gains. But for the most part, the same article said that most shareholders, let me tear this thing apart. That same article said most shareholders were not really bothered about, how gaming was, as long as Windows and cloud and other services that Microsoft and Xbox had, that Microsoft had, were doing well. And some people are already spinning that the portfolio managers are the ones that have a problem with Game Pass, that they're now the stockholders. Do you see how this is a concerted effort to farm engagement? Do you see how everyone is basically piling on this? Rather than actually talk about the developer direct and say, what is Xbox bringing to the forefront? This is constantly a theme, a trend, a pattern at this point. I've shown you 3 instances of 3 major launches, even ignoring one of them, the Call of Duty game of 2023, ignoring Hellblade, by the way, as well, which had its own controversy surrounding it, and other Xbox initiatives out there, usually to bring on the piling on of Xbox services Xbox's activities in terms of the gaming industry. If there's anything we should be talking about right now, it should be the games that are coming to Game Pass for Xbox users or people in the Xbox ecosystems. It should be the games that they're going to be getting, the dates of release of future games. And even if you're on PlayStation side, be looking at the calendar for the dates that they may be coming to you. But instead, it's controversy everywhere. It's very exciting as a gamer right now to see how the gaming industry is responding to the bloat that it's created for itself. But a lot of people live on clicks. So that now is a different challenge too. A lot of people maybe from, I don't know, maybe that's their, bread, maybe that's their dopamine, I don't know. But this is what we're facing right now. And so if you look very carefully, the previous concerns of Xbox, remember their concern was like, their concerns, the Xbox doesn't have any games, Game Pass is filled with all these games that, but now they got games. And the games are coming. They got dates. I remember when someone was telling me, we know about Indiana Jones, but we don't have a date. Well, they got dates. 1, 2, 3. They got one in January. They got one in February. They got one in March. All coming out to Game Pass. And people over here fighting about two hedge fund or portfolio managers that said that they're that basically showed us that they're a little impatient with the Game Pass strategy. Everyone's impatient with the Game Pass strategy. They all jumped in and said this is revolutionary, but the revolution ain't shown up yet. So many of them didn't realize that, there's a 1-year revolution, there's a 3 and a 5-year revolution. They didn't realize that Game Pass is like a 10-year revolution. So they all want to quickly see the fruits of Game Pass immediately. And now somewhere, somehow, it's a problem if Game Pass is not somehow at 100 million subscribers, even though Game Pass is profitable for Microsoft. I think this is what scares the status quo. This is what scares the status quo. The status quo does not want to see a Game Pass that actually is successful. They can't. Because if they do, what that means is now people are going to be questioning PlayStation as well for their Game Pass. And behold, PlayStation is also already responding. Many of you didn't know that, right? I mean, I know Game Pass has basically covered the entire news waves, but don't be fooled. PlayStation wants to also replicate this and is dabbling its feet little by little into this particular enterprise. Bringing games day one. This is the PlayStation Plus subreddit. Every PlayStation Plus day one release, according to them, unless they're wrong. But I lean upon the PlayStation Plus subreddit to inform me about the PlayStation Plus day one launches. This is interesting. Now, I have to also admit, as somebody who is here shouting about common sense in the conversation, I'm also a benefactor. What would happen one day if everybody finally got some sense and realized that this is the way Xbox's business is going? You wonder, you ask. I'll pick a game and I'll cover that game dedicatedly. Y'all know I'll play the one game for hours on. But the industry is just polluted by a lot of bad faith actors and a lot of people who are in here just for their own interest and to the detriment of whatever information we could get out there that's pure and unadulterated information. They couldn't be bothered. They just here to get theirs. And that's a very dangerous place that we're in right now. Talk to me in the comment section. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.